Okay.
In different cultures, even different countries, there are different customs and traditions in weddings. This can vary from country to country or even region to region and town to town. My heritage is that of Scotland and the Celtics. I want to talk to you today about Celtic wedding traditions and customs. I became interested in the Celtic wedding traditions when I was researching stuff for my own personal wedding. My family traces back to the Clan MacNaughton on my father's side and Clan Mackay on my mother's side. In Scotland, you have different traditions before the wedding as compared to what we do here in America. In Scotland, it is not as simple as just asking for a woman's hand in marriage. Scottish fathers would put a young man through what they called the spearing. The spearing was where he went and asked for her hand in marriage and was then required to do tasks or clear hurdles to earn the reward of receiving her hand in marriage. Another tradition utilized in northern Scotland is that of creeling. A creel is a large woven basket. The basket would be filled with large stones, and the groom-to-be would hoist it onto his back and then carry it in circles around the town until his bride-to-be came out of her home and gave him a kiss. Another tradition prior to the wedding in Scotland is called a wedding sark. The wedding sark requires that the bride would purchase a shirt for the groom for the wedding. He, in turn, would then purchase her wedding gown. Another tradition that they did just prior to the wedding was feet washing. This was to bring about luck to the wedding as well as bringing them good fortune. For a feet washing, the bride would sit upon a stool and her feet would be washed by an older married woman. The ceremony took different paths. In some ceremonies, there would be two ceremonies. The first ceremony would be held on the steps of the church in front of the entire town. This ceremony was performed in their native language of Gaelic. After the Gaelic marriage ceremony, they would then proceed into the church and hold a second ceremony performed by the priest or minister in Latin. At this time, at the beginning of the second ceremony, the bride and groom might produce a kine. The kine was a circle drawn on the ground or to encircle both the bride and groom so as to bring about unity. They would either point to the ground and draw an imaginary circle on the ground with their fingers, or they might draw an actual circle on the ground. While drawing the circle, they would repeat the words, "The mighty thee, my protection be, encircle me. You are around my life, my love, my home. Encircle me, O sacred three, the mighty thee." Another part of the ceremony would be the pinning of the tartan. A sash of the family tartan of either the bride or groom was pinned by that person's family onto their new spouse. This was to welcome them into the clan. During the ceremony, they might also do a pledge to provide and protect. In the pledge to provide and protect, the groom would present his bride with a sheaf of wheat. The sheaf of wheat represents his pledge to provide for their home. To represent her pledge to provide for their home, the bride would present the groom with a piece of woven cloth. Next, the groom would present his wife with a dirk or a dagger. This dirk or dagger represents his promise to her to protect her and protect their home. She, in turn, would present him with a Bible as her pledge to protect their home. For the first communion of the new couple during the ceremony, they would use a quaich, which is a two-handled loving cup. These were originally made of wood. Now most are found to be made in pewter. They can also be found with a glass bottom. The quaich requires you to use both hands to use it. The glass bottom was to allow you to keep an eye on other people while you were drinking. The creeling I mentioned as a pre-wedding tradition in northern Scotland is a post-wedding tradition in southern Scotland, but done somewhat differently. In the creeling in southern Scotland, they place a fishing basket across the door of the church. It is then secured with silk ribbons. The bride and groom cut these ribbons, allowing the creel to fall to the ground. This is said to bring luck to the marriage and the union. I've talked to you a little bit today about Scottish and Celtic traditions in wedding. As you can see, they are very different from those traditions here in America and even in Europe. Each person has the ability to have their own unique wedding based on their own heritage and culture. I chose to do mine from Scotland.